Hello.
Good afternoon, sir.
Yes,
Good
sir.
afternoon. Okay. Can you see my screen?
Yes,
Yes,
sir.
Okay, so in the previous class we are discussing about the functions. We discussed about the two types of functions: built-in functions, user-defined functions, and we have defined some functions, and we have seen that how the value can be returned from a function. These are some examples also we have discussed over there. Here you can in a function you can return multiple values, right?
yes,
Multiple.
sir.
So now we'll go for how to pass the object to the function, is a pass by value or by pass by reference. We'll take example over here. Everything is considered as an object in Python. We have already discussed earlier. So whatever is every digit what you take as an object. So number, string, tuple, list, dictionary, all are objects. So Python, the values are sent to functions by means of object reference. So what you are sending is actually object reference you are sending. Objects are created in heap memory, which is available during the runtime, and the id function returns the address in which it is being stored. Already we have known that if x equals 10, I want to print the address of x, so I will just print it in this way, right? So let's take an example over here. This is a function. Def modify is the function name. Def is defining the function, modify is the function name, x is the parameter. My function is see over here. So this is the function definition, and this part is your main function from where we are actually calling. So try to understand that when you are calling the function, suppose x equals to 10, x equals to 10 we have initialized. Modify of x, that means we are actually passing this 10, and by calling the modify function. So here it is, the 10 is over here. The moment I'm writing x equals to 15, so another object is assigned to 15, and I'm printing x with id of x. Just look over here. When it go for printing over here, this x is nothing but this 15. So it will print what? It will print 15, and this id of x is nothing but the address of this object 15. So this is the value that it will get printed. So this is 15 and id of 15 it will be get printed. But when it comes over here and it will try to print this value of x, here now it will take this x over here, this 10. So therefore 10, and what is the id of 10? The id of 10 will be this id of x equals to id of 10. So this is another value, another x, correct? So you can see over here there is a difference between the value that you have passed, and inside the function if you are taking x, that is being that value is being different over here. Why it is there? Because even if you have modified the value to 15, actually you are these values are immutable objects. The integer, float, string, tuples, these are all immutable. So if you are passing a immutable object, then this is not being modified over there inside the function. And if you want modification to those variables, then you pass a mutable object like list, dictionary, those things you pass over there. We'll take example for the same as well. Is this example understood?
Sir, one more time, please, sir.
Okay. Okay, see over here, we have this part is your function. This is your main function. I have taken a variable 10, I pass 10 over here. So this 10 is passed to this x, correct? Now what happens when you write x equals to 15, x is pointing to this object 15. So it is printing 50 and the address of 50. But the moment the function execution overs and it comes over here, this x is nothing but this 10. So it will print 10 and the ID of x is 10. So this also happens in C language as well. If you have passed something as a pass by value, you will see that those are not being modified in the function itself. While calling back from the function, we will get the same value. Correct? So this happens over here for immutable objects. That means pass by value in C is equal to the passing the immutable objects to the function. If you are passing an immutable object, it's actually that is a different one. That x is a different one. Right? So integer, if you are passing it, here we are passing an integer. If you pass an integer, float, string, tuple, these are, so a separate copy will be created in the function itself.
Sir, excuse me, sir. If in the main, when we passed x in the modify function, if we have written x equal to modify of x, then it would have printed 15.
Which one you want to?
Sir, after x equal to 10, you have written modify x,
Yes.
passing x through modify function.
Yes.
So if I've written like there, instead of modify x, we would have written x equal to modify of x.
You want to write here x equals to modify of x.
Yes,
then you have to have a return function, and that can be done. But still, if you write x equals to modify of x and you return over here, you will get the value. But remember, still this x what you will write x equals to modify of x, this x is equal to this one. But the value that is being returned over here, that is another value. That is another one, maybe this 15. For example, I have written x equals to 15, I will write return x. I'll write return x and I'll write over here x equals to this. Then what happens? This 15 is returned and this x becomes 15. That can be done. One, I'll just execute and solve.
Got it, sir. I got it.
You got it? Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now look over here another one. So previous example, what I have done, you can see that is being two different addresses over here because these are, it is an integer and it is immutable. But if you want to pass by reference, that you do in C or C++, C over here. What you have done, instead of passing a number, I am just passing a list. List is mutable or immutable? List is mutable. Dictionary is mutable, right? So, and set is also mutable, unless it is a frozen set. So now what you have, I have a list, right? And this list I am passing over here. What is the list item? 1, 2, 3, 4. I am passing the list. So this list, which I have passed over here, is received over here, correct? So now you see, I have done some changes to this list. Which one? To this one. I have added 5. I print list and the address of this list. It prints this list and 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 because 5 is appended, and this is the address. Now when the function overs and it come out, and again I print the list, you will see that you have the modified value 5 is added over here and the address is nothing but the same address, correct? So this is nothing but the pass by reference actually. The changes that are made to the formal arguments has an immediate effect on the actual arguments, correct? The changes made to the formal argument has an immediate effect on the actual. So if it is a list and you are changing over here inside the function, that has an effect. Is it understood or anybody having doubt?
Sir, so to pass by reference means to pass mutable objects in the function.
Yes, correct. So pass by reference means pass, so that value that you put in a mutable object and pass it, so that can be modified over there. So the pass by reference is actually experienced by passing the mutable object. So passing mutable object is, otherwise it is equivalent to the pass by reference that you have in C language. I think it is understood now.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, now, sir. Okay. The formal argument and actual argument that you already know. Still, the parameters used in function definition to receive parameters outside the functions are called formal arguments. And during the function call, we use some arguments. These are called the actual arguments, right? So the argument that you pass over here is actual argument, and this is called the formal argument. So these actual arguments used in functions are of 4 types. The actual argument that you pass are positional arguments, keyword arguments, default arguments, and variable length arguments. There are 4 different kinds of arguments are there. What are positional arguments? Positional argument means the order in which you will pass. Suppose S1, S2 you are passing. Define, attach S1, S2, and you do some operation over here and you are printing it. Just look over here. First S1, then S2. So first one will go to the first, second one will go to the second one. So here the position matters. So the order, these are the arguments passed to a function in correct positional order. The number of arguments and their position in the function definition should match with the number and position of the argument in the function call. So if I am having a string and an integer, I must have to write a string and an integer in that way. Are you getting me? If S1 is a string and S2 is an integer, then I have to write in that way. I cannot swap it, correct? Then
Yes,
it is, we say it is a positional argument. However, we can change it. I will tell you that if you want to change it, how will you do? So this is one way of doing. It's a positional argument. Correct? So we have 4 types we have read: positional, keyword, default, and variable length. This is one way of defining. The order in which you are defined, the same order also you have to pass the argument to the function. Suppose we have keyword arguments. Second one is the keyword arguments. What is the keyword arguments? As I said earlier, here what you have, if S1, S2 you are writing, you have to pass in that order. But look over here. Keyword arguments are arguments that identify the parameters by their names. So suppose I have a function define grocery, item, and price. So first one is item, second one is price. So whenever I pass first argument, it goes to the first one, second one goes to the second one. But just look over here. Here I write item equals to sugar, price equals to 50.5. There is no problem. It will run fine. And if I write price equals to 80 and item equals to oil, then also it will accept, because it will take according to the keyword. So price matches with the price, and this value will go over here. Item matches over here. So either you may pass the order in which you have defined, in the same order you pass. Otherwise, you may pass by defining the keyword. The parameter name has to be written. Now, if you are using the parameter name, you can define in any order. Correct? So we can change the order of the argument as the parameter name guides where to store the values. So how the value will be stored? Value will be stored according to the parameter that you are passing in the function. Is it clear?
So sir, we are actually giving a variable name to the, then passing the value along with the variable names in the function.
Yes. So you are having, these are formal arguments or parameters over, these are some formal parameters. So that parameter name, if you are specifying while calling, so it will put the value wherever it matches in this parameter list. So if even there are 10 parameters, I may write in any order, but I have to write parameter name equals to value. Is that understood?
Yes.
So we can pass in any order by specifying what? Specifying the parameter name. If the parameter name is specified, then you may go for out of order. Any order you want, you may specify. We may have third one is the default arguments. We can have default arguments in a function actually. We can specify some default value for the function. Default argument, have you read it before? Default argument in C++? Or
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes, very good. So the default argument that you have read in C++ is exactly same over here. Just look over here. We have grocery. We have two parameters, item and price. But the second one I have given a default value. So if I am not passing any value for price, it will be default. It will take 40. For example, I pass oil and 80. So first one is for the first item equals to oil, so item will be assigned with the oil, and price will be assigned with the 80. So it will not be 40, it will take 80. But then the second call, if I write item equals to sugar, the sugar will go to the first one. However, the second one I have not given. So instead of giving error, it will take the default value as 40. Right? So in many of the cases, if you want a particular value to be replaced, if I am skipping something, then that value can be assigned as a default value. That can be assigned as a default value. Correct? Is that understood or not?
Understood, sir.
Understood.
Okay. But do remember, if you are having positional arguments, if you have keyword arguments, there is no problem. If you don't have, you are not using keyword arguments, then the trailing arguments should have the default values. That means if you are not using these keyword arguments, then what you have to only from the right hand side the default values must be given. So you cannot write item equals to something and price don't have a default value. Understood? Only the trailing elements can have default. So if you are assigning default value to a variable, all its right hand side, all the variables must have the default values. So it will go on assigning from leftmost to leftmost, the next one to next one, like that it will go on assigning the values at the time of calling. Is it understood or anyone having doubt?
No, sir, it's understood.
So the last one is the variable length arguments. The variable length argument says that a variable length argument is an argument which can accept one or more number of values. So it will take one or more number of values also it can take. It is used in the function definition in the case where the programmer wants to develop a function that can accept one or more number of arguments. Sometimes we have one function may take, the same function may take one argument, sometimes two arguments, maybe 5 arguments. So variable length argument is required. You do not have a fixed number of. Can you give example of a function which takes variable length of arguments that you are using? Okay, let's take an example of the print function. In print function, if you pass a string, it will be get printed. String with one variable get printed. Type string variable, then string variable. So it is according to the number of inputs that the user gives, it will process on that. So it takes variable length of arguments or not, the print function. So
can you explain it once more, sir?
In print function, you can give what? Print A. It will print one value of a variable. Print A, B. Value of two variables. Somebody will write 10 variables. Somebody will write message with a. So print function is taking variable length argument. So where it is being defined? Somebody has defined this print function inside the compiler. How it has been defined then? The print function must be taking variable length of argument. It is not for 2, 3 or 5 arguments. So it depends on the number of, so if the argument length is different, then we say it's a variable length argument, right? So how to go for variable length arguments? How you go for variable length arguments? Okay, so just look over here. I have taken two variables over here, FARG and star ARGS. This is the first argument, and I will give this is for the argument list. A star is a this is not pointer. This is a symbol that is being used over here for variable length arguments. So this is I have written over here. If this is the first argument, and this is the argument list, argument strings. I print the what is FARG, and I want.
Sir, once again, what the star represent?
Star is just the star is a symbol that is being used for representing the variable length argument. Star is not a pointer. Star represents the variable length argument over here, star ARGS. It is not the pointer. There is no pointer concept over here. So what you have, suppose this is my program. So this is the function over here. This is the function defined, correct? And here is my main function. So I pass 5 and 10, add 5 and 10. So 5 will go over here and 5 will go over here, correct? This is 5 will go over here, and ARGS is what? ARGS is only one element 10, is only one element 10 over here. So if I print formal argument FARG, what is FARG? FARG is 5, so it will print formal argument 5, correct? Then it will come over here, sum equals to 0. For I in ARGS, what is ARGS? ARGS is only 1, 10, because there is only one element over here. So for I in ARGS, so that means I will become 10. Sum is equal to sum plus I. So sum is 0, 0 plus 10. 0 plus 10 is 10. The sum of all numbers is FARG, means 5 plus 10. FARG is 5, sum is 10, so it will print 50. If I go for calling the function with more number of parameters, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, more number of parameters. So the first one will go to FARG, first one will go to the first. So 1 will go to the FARG, and star ARG, the moment you write star ARGS, now what it will take? The rest of the elements, 2, 3, 4, 5, all these are over here in ARGS, correct? So what is the formal argument over FARG over here? This FARG is 1. So the formal argument FARG is 1, because the first one is FARG, right? So now sum equals to 0. For I in ARGS, what is ARGS? 2, 3, 4, 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. So it will sum is equal to sum plus I. So sum is 0, 0 plus 2 plus 3 plus 4 plus 5, it will add, correct? 0 plus 2, 2 plus 3, 3 plus, so like that it will add 3 plus 2, 5, 5 plus 4, 9, 9 plus 4, 14. So sum will become 14 over here. And what it will return? Sum, FARG plus sum, so 14 plus 1, it returns 15. So that it returns 15 over here. So ARGS is, from the moment it is ARGS is there, that means it takes a variable length of arguments, and then we can put any iterator or any loop to go through these arguments. I can do any operation. I want to print the square of each of the argument, or some operation I want to do, that can be done over here.
Sir, it is like integer.
Hello.
Sir, what will happen if we put?
Let one. Okay, Achyut, you say first, huh?
Sir, it is like integer array.
No, it is not integer array. It is that whatever the values you will take, suppose I will pass some strings, then also it will store over there. Integer, character, whatever we will give for the second argument, all those will be stored in ARGs. Not necessary to be integers.
Yes, sir.
Okay, any other?
Sir, what will happen if we put star ARGS first, then FARG?
No, if FARG for our requirement we have taken, if you do not need the FARG, you just delete it, and star ARGS means total, it will from the beginning to last. If I want to separate some value, then only I am using FARG. Otherwise, you just need ARGS, not required. The FARG is not required. You may delete it. Correct. I will have more example. I have more example for the same. Correct. So now we'll go for some recursive. This will also come back to this variable length argument. This is just remember that we have 4 types of argument: positional argument, keyword argument, then you have default argument and variable length arguments. We'll go for some recursive functions. Recursive functions in Python. How to define the recursive functions in Python. Recursive functions you might be knowing, just I'm going through quickly. Problem in thinking recursively. Problem in real life also in computer science can often seem big and scary. So what you will do over here, if we keep chipping away at them, more often than not, we can break them down into smaller chunks. Trivial enough to solve. So if you break it into smaller, and we can go on recursively solving the smaller chunks. So this is we say as the recursive. Something in terms of its recursion is the process of defining something in terms of itself, right? This a physical world example would be the place two parallel mirrors facing. If two parallel mirrors facing each other, what will happen? Any object in between them would be reflected recursively. So in Python, we know that recursion can call the other function. So I'm just this recursion. I think you, every one of you might be knowing. Function calling a function by itself, very simple. Calling a function by itself is called a recursion. So you can see over here. This is a function. Suppose records I have defined, and inside the function I am calling the same function again. Inside the function I am calling the same function again. And therefore we say it's a recursive call. So here we can see over here. Look over here. This function calls the recursive function. The recursive function calls again recursive function. So this will go to an infinite kind of calling, infinite call of calling, right? So if this item delivery is an example of, I'm just skipping this because you know already the what the recursive function you already know. So I'm just skipping this one. I'm going for directly solving a problem. Okay. Finding the finding the factorial of a number. This is the trivial example being given in most of the anywhere you read a a recursion. Usually this example is given to find the factorial of a number. So I started with this example again. To find the factorial of a number, I have a fact equals to n. I take n, if n is equal to 1, it will return 1. Otherwise, it will return n into fact of n minus 1. You can see where I am defining a function. Inside the function also, I am calling the same function. So I say it's a recursive calling. I take a variable 7. I find the factorial of that 7 I pass. And you'll see that it's a recursive, so that means 7 into 6. So this 6 will in return what it will call 6 into 5, 5 into 4, 4 into 3, 3 into 2 into 1. So that returns actually that will return the factorial of the number. Is that clear? I think this this you could understand. So many times you have read this one. Is that understood?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
One more thing I just want to say that I am finding the factorial of 7. You go on finding for 17 or 20, it will display the factorial. But if you run the same program in C program, C language, you will see that after 8, maybe 7 even, it might be giving some wrong answer because it exceeds the range of the integer. But as you know that Python supports a large range of values, so it will find out the factorial of a larger number. So this is the calling of the function as I was expecting. Suppose I am giving 3, and so this actually nothing but 3 into 2, 3 into 2. So it calls over here 2, 2 returns 2 into factorial of 1. So 1 returns 1 over here. So this one is returned to this place. So this becomes 2 into 1. 2 into 1 is 2 is returned over here. This returns 3 into 2, 6. 6 is being returned over here. So that x equals to 6. Right? Okay. How to find the GCD of two numbers? GCD of recursive, you want to find out the GCD of two numbers using recursion. Can you do it your own? How to find the GCD of two numbers using recursion? The GCD, you already know that how to find the GCD. What should I write so that it will give you, it will find out the GCD of two numbers. Similar questions might come in your, in your in midterm exam also. Suppose you are given with two numbers, 12 and 18. How do you find the GCD of two numbers? One way of finding this is you go on dividing the larger number. Suppose the greater is 18. So now you divide this 18 with this value 12. So this is A, and this is A and this is B, right? So what I divide A with B, right? So this returns what? 6. This returns what? 6. So I will compare this 6 with now 6 with this 12. So I divide with again 12. So this becomes A and that 12 becomes B. And I go on dividing in this way. Once it is being divided, that means if it is returns 0, then we return this as the GCD over here. This is one way of solving. There are many different ways. One way of solving is this one. So this process, why I'm saying, because this is a recursive one. If this is not 0, I will take this again divide with this value. Are you getting me? Are you getting me what I'm saying? How
Yes,
this is a recursive way of dividing the numbers so that this will occur. So just look over here. I have the GCD function. I take when it is, I will stop. If it is 0, I will stop. Right? When A will become 0, I will stop. So if A is equal to 0, I will return B. And if B is equal to 0, I will return A. Any one of them will become 0, I will return the first one. Otherwise, what will do, if A is greater than B, so here it is A is not greater than B. If A is greater than B, then what I will do, I will find out, I will divide A with B and B. I will divide A with B and the remainder is over here. But in our case, B is greater than A. So what I will do, I will put A and B modulo A is being over here. B modulo A is what? 6. So 12 and 6 is being passed over here. Correct? And once it returns 12 divided by 6 is 0, and therefore it returns the A, and therefore the GCD is found to be 6. Is that understood? So here is an example where we have inputted 15 and 20, we get the value GCD as 5. Anyone having doubt over here? Okay. So go to the next slide. Okay. The iterative the binary search. How many of you know the binary search? You must have known about the binary search.
Yes, sir. Traversing from beginning to the end of an array, searching for an element.
Traversing the array or list, searching for an element where the preconditions are, the first thing is that the array must be sorted. So binary search will be applied only on sorted arrays. And the second one is the lower bound and the upper bound must be known beforehand. If these two conditions are satisfied, then only we can go for a binary search. We can see over here, this is the array with 2, 3, 4, 10, 40. These are the elements are already in sorted order. I want to search the value for 10, whether it is present, in which index it is being present. Correct? So this is the main program that I want to execute. And my expectation is that this binary search function, where I am passing this array and x, I am passing this array and this x to this binary search function, should return the position in which the element occurs. Should return the position on which the element occurs. Correct? So see over here, I have a binary search passing the array and the element. The same, I take the low is equal to 0 because I said the upper limit and lower limit must be known beforehand. So the lower limit, and this is my upper limit, length of array minus 1 is the upper limit because I am starting from 0 onwards. So lower limit and upper limit is known beforehand. This is the lower limit and this is the higher limit. These two are known beforehand, correct? And I take the mid. What is the mid? So what I put loop? Loop is while low get less than equals to high, I find out the mid position. Mid position is the integer division of high plus low by 2. So I find the middle position. And then I start comparing with the value in that middle position. Either it will be less, greater, or less or greater. So if it is less, what do you do? We increment the mid. If it is greater, we decrement the mid. That we usually do in a binary search. This is an iterative method. That is the way we solve it. If you want to do it in binary search, what you will do? To binary search, I am passing these two, right? Along with this, if I'll pass the mid and call it recursively, that can also solve our problem. We'll see it in the over here. This is, I am going for the same program. The same program, I will go for recursively solving it. Solving the binary search recursively. The same program I take, if high is greater than low, then find the mid, compare with the mid. While greater than x, what do you do? While greater than x, what do you do over here? We do this high mid minus 1. So I am just doing over here. Array mid minus 1 and x. Low, so I am passing what? Array element, the lower limit and the upper limit. So every time my lower limit and upper limit is being changed, on which the array, the element is need to be searched. Every time my lower, or so this is my, this becomes my lower limit and this becomes my upper limit. So as I have 4 parameters over here, these first and last parameters are always same. First and last parameters are always same. You can see over here. Only the lower limit and upper limit changes according to the condition that you have given over here. So if array of mid is greater than x, right? So that means it is at the left hand side. So it will come over here. So if it is less, then it will be on the right hand side. We'll go for mid plus 1 to high. Is it understood? Is it understood or not?
Yes, sir.
The similar problems may come in your exam to write a recursive function for doing some of the operations. recursive this is the sum of list elements. You have a list element is there. So this is the program. This is the program, and this is the main function we can think of. This is the function list sum recursive, and this is my program. And what I have done over here, I want to pass a list. Objective is to add the elements of this list. So the list is being passed. If the list is empty, it returns 0. Otherwise, what it done? The first one is being stored. That means the 1 is stored over here, right? The 1 is stored. The smaller list is 1 to this. So rest of the elements, that means from the rest of the elements 1 onwards is stored in smaller list. So here it is written head plus. Head means what? 1. Head is 1 or not? So head is 1 plus. Head is 1 plus list of sum of recursive of smaller list. So what is smaller list? Smaller list is 1 to this. That means this entire thing is the smaller list that is being passed. So now it is 1. This part is 1. For next part is just call it again. While calling it again, what is the head? Head will become list of 0. That means it will become 2. For the second list, the head is what? 2. And rest of the elements are 3, 4, 5. Then it calls it recursively by taking the head out. So this becomes what? This is 3. Right? So by passing 4 and 5, so again it takes the first element. It takes 4 plus. For this element is being passed, so it will take the head of the list, and this becomes 5. Right? And that is being returned. So this becomes 1 plus 2. So summation of the list of elements can be. Is that understood? This is not necessarily to be always. So you put any item over there in the list, you will get the summation of those. So it is not the sum of first natural numbers. This is the sum of the numbers in a list. You put any numbers in the list, any order. Is it understood or any doubt? Similarly, you can go for Fibonacci series. You know already. This is the Fibonacci series program for how many terms you want. And Fibonacci series you might be knowing. If n is less than 1, return n. Otherwise, it's a recursion of n minus 1 and n minus 2. I hope this one you know already. Is it understood? Just look into this code and tell me whether you understood this or not. Just look into the code and tell me that whether you understood the code or not. This Fibonacci series you must have done many times. Is it understood?
Yes, sir.
There are some pros and cons are there for the recursion. Some advantages and disadvantages are there for the recursion. What are the advantages? It says that recursive functions make the code look clean and elegant, right? Recursive functions make the code look clean and elegant. So the recursive function makes the code look simpler and they look clean and elegant. A complex task can be broken down into easier with recursion than using some nested iteration. So a complex problem can be solved easily with the recursion. This doesn't mean that recursion is always required. A iteration can also be solve the purpose, but recursion it will make it simpler, right? But there are some disadvantages as well. Sometimes the logic behind the recursion is hard to follow through. To understanding sometimes make it difficult. Recursive calls are expensive, right? So these are therefore it makes it inefficient and takes a lot of memory and time. So recursive functions are not always. You will see that by recursion, my program is good. It's not like that. Recursion is you may write the program simpler way, but it is inefficient. Means a lot of memory and time will be there, and this is very hard to debug as well. So in a recursion, what you give, we give a base condition and every recursive function. So now you have a base condition from where it will come out. Otherwise, what will happen? It will go on calling itself. Maximum depth of recursion is 1000. So it will go up to the 1000 and then it gives a recursion error. So on a depth of 1000, it will go by calling itself and then it gives a error itself. So there are some problems over here on the recursion. These problems is only you will solve of your own. The problem with solution, I will give this on your in your lab. I'll give these problems for in your lab, right? So next class we will go for some other functions over here. Let me get the roll number 16. Roll number 16.
Sir, actually, she's trying to connect from the beginning, but she's having network issues, sir. She has messaged in the group already, sir.
Okay. Okay, all other are present. Okay. So whatever we have discussed, you will try executing those programs of your own, and then we'll see that if you have in doubt in the next class again, we'll go for solving this. Correct? So I'll end the meeting now.